Hi, so in today's video, I'll be talking to you about looking for a sponsor for the book, and I'll be talking to you about the ways in which some people wanted to induce in me fear over money, inheriting money, debts after my father's death. So, if that's something that may be interesting to you, then stay tuned. Um, so when my father died, my siblings started to furnish the flat that belonged to me and my mother. And my mother told me that she wanted to uh, take away the flat from me and have it only on her, so I would have to renounce the flat. And I did agree because obviously my sibling used to help my mother more often, and they would buy her fancy gifts, whereas my gifts were kind of poor, or there were no gifts. So I agreed to that, but later we had an argument over the documents because I didn't get those documents which I signed for her, and she just accused me of taking those documents. Like, she accused me of taking, 6 plates, or taking pasta, or taking knives, or taking her money from the bag. And she accused me also that I took her papers away, and she told me she started to take photos of her documents. Okay. Um, so, we also had to sign and write down the document that we wanted to not inherit my father's debt, because nobody knew how much debt he actually had. And I was writing that document with my mother, and on the way to the notary, my mother told me that with this document it would be over. And on the way I had all the time this question, like, what is it going to be, what is it going to be? And I understood this question, like, what is it going to be with the book, with writing and publishing the book? And I was still writing and publishing the book. So we entered the notary, who's actually similar to the man I used to know from my childhood, and my sister used to date a similar man to the notary. Notary looked pretty much gypsy. And he told us that, there were 2 mistakes. I told my mother to read the document, and she's like, no, she signed it. She said the notary read it. It's okay. We signed the document with 2 mistakes, and we were told that we need to do the translation. Then we had to do the amends, so we had to pay for the translation, for amends, and we were told that the German court would decide about the issue of the inheritance of debts. So after some period of time, the issue was resolved, and we did not inherit anything from my dad. But during that time, well, we didn't know. Um, So all of a sudden, as the situation was presented to us, as we were going to be fine, at least to my mother, that with that document, that would be the end of the work, and we're fine and safe. And all of a sudden, it turned out that you have to do extra work, going to extra institutions and paying for those documents, and then waiting for the resolution, because who knew if we wouldn't inherit it. So during the time of writing the book, those 2 elements were kind of, yeah, they were highly stressful for me. That's for sure. Um, yeah. So also, my mom would say that I didn't pay for those documents, so I didn't need those documents, although there was my signature on them. And she would also make remarks such as, that I need those documents to run from court to court and gossip about people, which I find highly unfair to say something like that. Um, And then I was looking for a sponsor because when they arrived and when my mother decided to stop making me the one of the owners of the flat, then I was like, okay, there's something in the air, and I need to protect my book, of course. So I was looking for a sponsor even more, and I went to the Jewish bar where I used to work, and I wanted to leave my USB drive over there, which I did. And of course, when going there, I had a lot of fear, and I had thoughts like, my notes were not good enough. I left the note, and the note was poor quality. And then when leaving the place, I didn't even know yet at that time of writing, in that phase of writing about Jewish people, I didn't connect the dots yet. And then I was thinking, oh, those, bad Jewish people using a different word. So that's really surprising for me that I could have a thought like that, not knowing that actually I entered the Jewish place at that time. Which proves to me that it was not my thought, not my representation in the mind, if I can call it that way. So, then I came across the trailer of Papusha film, and it was a film recorded in 2013, and it depicted a man whom actually I've met when I was a teenager, and I used to go partying with so-called my best friend, but she was not. And we went to the bar, and the guy just approached our table and sat with us, and we sat in a separate room for smokers. So she left the place, she left me with him for a moment, and in that moment, he asked me if I had, at least for a moment, if at least for a moment I felt like having sex with him. And the guy was much older than I was, he was much taller than I was, he used to have a long beard, and he used to wear a hat, and he was really monstrous, like really, really tall, and very, very straight in his body type. So having that memory, and having, I said yes. And then a few seconds later, I felt like, oh my God, I'm looking at a different person. It felt like, someone who's not attractive. It felt like looking at someone who's homeless. Um, so I didn't understand where this change come from, in my perception. And when I saw him in that movie, I already knew that's probably the filmmakers were not the people I would like to consult with. Um, and then I came across yet another place where I could look at historical photos from Tarnów, and it's photos from the Second World War. And I had this, immediate association with Jan Gomoa, my photography teacher, who actually, deals with photography, and may have some tendencies also to, collect photos. Um, but still, I did not decide to go with this place and to reach out to that place. Um, and I was trying to get back to my professor, with whom helped me write my bachelor thesis. And, and before I actually met him in Krakow, my mother told me to watch A Secret Window. As she presented it, it wasn't even her idea, but it was her friend who recommended her that film. It's a film that stars Depp, and Johnny Depp, and it's based on a Stephen King's book, Secret Window. And in that film, well, there were a lot of references to my life, because in that film, there were hats, the same type of hats I used to have when I was a little girl. We had those hats in the house. There was a window in the shape of a square, and I used to rent a flat in Poland before I went to live in the Netherlands. I used to rent a flat where there was this square window. And what else did I want to tell you? The main character suffers from schizophrenia, and he didn't remember if he plagiarized the book or not. And people in the streets or in the shops were staring at him in an aggressive way. So this is pretty much, some aspects, a lot of aspects of that film happened in my life. um, because even the parts about plagiarism, I was very, very close, and I was scared that I committed plagiarism when translating the book, but looking at the existing translation. But actually, I was writing and typing on my own each word. I was probably scared that I was too close to the existing translation. And, with schizophrenia, my mother went to the court to file the motion with a few lies here and there. And then, after 1 hour of evaluation, I got the opinion stating I had schizophrenia. And people were actually staring at me, which I believe was designed to induce mental illness and to make me believe that I was mad when I was not. Well, whatever that all sounds to you, covered hypnosis is the thing to unravel and unpack. And it's got, so to say, many layers to it. Um, so I've seen that video, and then I was going on a train to Krakow to see my professor, and in the movie you could see Johnny Depp eating corn, and I used to call my boss unicorn. So on the way, just in front of my house, there were two gypsy men, and one of them told me unicorn, and the other one told me, "Oh, you probably don't like Romani people." And then on the way, just on Krakowska Street, I could see two origami birds. And then when I took the train to Krakow, that train actually went to Oświęcim too. And on the way on the train, I could see through the window two dead pigeons. And that was it. I left the train. I left the train. And, yeah, sure thing, I left the train, but I scheduled yet another meeting, and I managed to meet my professor on some other day. But, I bought the tickets, and I caught the train, and I put some time and effort into it, and it was all just working as a mental blockage for you to not to do something. And I believe, the main idea for the gypsy was to not to was to stop me from writing and publishing my book. Um, yeah, yeah. So I believe, yeah, that's it for that video. And if you want to get a free PDF of my book Piglet, you will find the information in the description of this film. You will find the information on my website and on my Instagram account, on my Facebook account too. And yeah, you can just email me at lkinga788@gmail.com, lkinga788@gmail.com. And if you want to check out my course, Amelia, which is a course designed for victims of sexual abuse, if you want to learn more about manipulation, mind controls, mind games, how personalities are shaped via language, culture, and any, intertextuality that is intentionally designed to create those personalities, then click the link below in the description of the film, and it will take you to the course. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this video, share it with other people. And thanks for watching. Okay, where do